Week, the mayors of suburban Broadview and Bellwood presented the rapper with keys to their villages in partnership with his Neighborhood Heroes Foundation, which supports Chicago youth by promoting education and violence prevention. In a Facebook post, Broadview Mayor Katrina Thompson said she's withdrawing that key and ending the village's partnership with his foundation. The statement reading in part, while the American system of justice grants everyone the presumption of innocence until proven guilty in a court of law, in the village of Broadview, the court of public opinion of residents has even higher moral and ethical standards of behavior. As mayor, protecting Broadview's interests and upholding the values of residents is job number one.
Great people. We have got to talk about this. Sorry for the technical difficulties. This camera is going to be repaired today. Sorry guys, we have moved and some things transpired and now our camera is glitchy. So we are definitely working on this. So my next video will be much more back to normal. Sorry about that. So just bear with me, but I had to talk about this, wanted to gather some more information about little DURK and what happened. And it's just amazing how, you see people doing great things. And I got two more clips I want us to talk about after this, but you see people doing great things. You think they've changed their life and the next day something happens. I mean, we don't know everything about everybody, of course. However, we wish the best for people. We want them to do well, turn over new leaves, but this is just disheartening. So let's tap in a little bit more.
Rapper Little DURK has been arrested and charged with a murder for hire plot. The Chicago native, whose real name is Dirk Banks, was arrested in Florida by the U.S. Marshals Service. The 32-year-old's arrest comes as 5 other people in Chicago were arrested in connection with the investigation. According to the complaint, Banks and his co-conspirators allegedly worked together to, quote, track, stalk, and attempt to murder a target at a Los Angeles gas station, firing at least 18 rounds into the person's vehicle, striking and killing a passenger in the car. Banks made his first court appearance this afternoon in Miami. Banks' lawyer asked for privacy after leaving court, telling ABC, quote, "We will not be commenting at this time." I want to bring in ABC News contributor and Sirius XM radio host Mike Muse and ABC News contributor and criminal defense attorney Shauna Lloyd for more on all of this. And Shauna, I want to start with you on this. The charges against these men include conspiracy to commit murder for hire and use of a machine gun in a violent crime resulting in a death. The most serious charge carries up to the death penalty if convicted. So, I mean, I know it's early, but how do you see this playing out?
Alex, this is a very serious charge. Conspiracy is one of those charges that all it takes is voluntary knowledge. So as long as you had any conversation with 2 or more about something, a plan to further this plot for hire, and it resulted in a death, you are looking at those either life imprisonment and up to the death penalty. So it does not take a lot to be convicted of conspiracy charges. Now, they do have to show that he was voluntarily a part of this conspiracy, and they're going to have to show that he knew what the end goal of the conspiracy is. And so that's the burden.
I don't understand why when you have artists who have been not brought, but I guess technically you've been introduced to a whole nother life where you can better yourself. You don't have to continue to live the street life. I mean, what purpose is it serving? And yet you had a whole new life, family, wife, I believe, or girlfriend, children. And it's like, bro, what is it? Where is the disconnect here? You have all these new opportunities and yet you still want to live thug life. Why do we still do this? This is our community. This is just ridiculous to me. This is just ridiculous. You cannot do both. You can't do both, bruh.
But conspiracy does not take as much as other charges. So this is a very serious crime.
Mike, one of the things that strikes me about this is DURK has long touted himself as the voice, especially from Chicago. He's noted his connection to the trenches, but also he's had a kind of a stellar 2024, appearing on some hit TV shows and new music on the way. He just celebrated a birthday. So I'm curious. I mean, how is the music and entertainment world processing this news? I mean, that had to be a huge shock.
Yeah, it was very much a huge shock, and particularly coming off the Grammys when he had the song "All My Life" with J. Cole, which is pretty much one of his biggest singles that he's had to date. That had incredible commercial success. Lil Durk is part of what is called the drill movement in Chicago, and so every region in the United States has a different sound when it comes to hip hop. And so Lil Durk was really at the forefront of the drill music, which is controversial. It is very rooted in gang culture. I don't think any of us involved in the music industry, entertainment industry, realized that Lil Durk would actually have the capability to send out and put out a hit. This was a retaliation to another popular rapper in the drill genre of music, King Von. And so this was to enact revenge against the murder of King Von. What this goes to, though, Alex, is a larger conversation that we need to be having in America is how do we address gang culture, and then how do we address the violence that precipitates within particular urban communities. Every time we have a death or a murder such as this is when we need to be thinking about gun reform, gun legislation, and how much guns are on the streets, in particular within Chicago, which has a complicated dynamic with guns because of the bordering states that they have in terms of how the other states that surround Illinois have very loose gun restriction laws and the way that guns can flow into cities like Chicago. And so I think moments like this gives us an opportunity to address how are we going to tackle the growing issue of violence within our cities, how are we going to tackle gun violence and gun reform, and then how are we going to tackle the gang culture that exists in our major cities.
Well, and Shauna, one more here, because you mentioned conspiracy earlier. How might prosecutors be looking at this OTF group that the DURK was a part of? I mean, are we going to see some repeats of what happened in the YS, or what's happening in the YSL case?
Well, this one's going to be a little different because even when we look at the indictment, they already have text messages, which tends to lead me to the information that there may have been an informant because they got this information very quickly. Let's remember these arrests just happened, so they would have had to get these phone records. So if they have a direct source, we're going to see this move a lot more quickly. It cites text messages and phone calls where we can see the exact communications. So they have direct evidence already that's going to move this a lot more quickly than what we see in the YSL trial.
Gotcha. Okay. Mike Muse and Shauna Lloyd, thank you both.
Okay, this is the last one, guys. I just want a quick, just to hear, what he has to say about it. And we're going to wrap this up and talk at the end. I hope this is, I wish it wasn't true. I really do. I hope that somehow it's a fluke and a bad dream and all of this. He's going to be vindicated somehow, some way, but it just doesn't sound that way. We want to root for our black males who have transformed their lives. We want to root for males, for men, period, who've come out of the gang life and have made better choices because they saw that it was taking them down a road to nowhere. But yet, how did he get caught up? This is a trick of the enemy of how he continues to use that life to make you think that you're missing something when you have an opportunity for the grass is greener on the other side when it comes to that situation. Okay, I said at the end.
24.
Yeah.
So he immediately got caught up?
Yes. That's what it sounds like. And of course, what they're saying is this is retaliation for the killing of King Von by Quando Rondo's right-hand man, Lil Tim.
Slow down. The killing that happened at the Beverly Center is retaliation.
What killing at the Beverly Center?
That's where the last murder happened.
Of
this
who?
Murder happened at the Beverly Center, across the street.
Oh, Lil Pop.
Yeah.
No, I understand that, but the Lil Pop murder, which was supposed to be the Quando Rondo murder, was a retaliation to King Von getting killed.
For that. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, who's the first one to get mentioned today?
What do you mean?
One of your guests. We all thought that was a bad drug deal, weed deal. You know that. The world thought that shooting was a bad weed deal between some Armenians or Persians. That's what the world thought.
Huh.
Did not
And
know
it wasn't
that.
until February of 2023 that Brick Baby goes on the internet with Flacco and says, out of nowhere, the world is oblivious to this. We've tied this to a bad drug deal. Remember the story that an arm reached over Quando and shot him? That was the story, right? Brick Baby goes on the show and says, I guess they can't say OTF didn't slide for King Von anymore. And Flacco says, well, what are you talking about? He said, yeah, the shooting.
Oh.
They slid for King Von, OTF.
Wow.
Now, that's February. March, the feds get on Brick. We don't know this. Jump to June 2023. Feds come to Brick Baby's house.
Wow.
We get the report. I'm screaming, Brick Baby just got picked up by the feds. What's happening? When your court date? Right? We're under the presumption that it's an AK-47 case. But what really happened was they came there to get his cell phone. In the process of him doing the search, they come across the AK-47. Brick Baby calls 600, who's part of the exposures, one of my guys. Say, man, the feds just picked me up. I got an AK case, but they on the other fella. We're going to refrain from his name because I know that's your friend, right? He's giving us all this information. He said the feds been on me since March, right? So he gives this thing identifying OTF in February, first one in the world. And then when they come in this house in June, they let them know they've been on them since March, but we think it's an AK-47 case, right?
Wow.
Come to find out, when we applied pressure last night on Act Show, he wakes up this morning in a panic. He goes on there and starts running his mouth. Yeah, the feds came in. They took my cell phone, still haven't given it back.
Oh.
Right? If you go in there and look at that report, number 4 is a local guy that was dropping Quando's locations. Slow down.
Y'all.
Number 4 is a local guy that was dropping Quando's locations. Now, after the murder, when Quando went back to Georgia, what did he immediately do?
Dropped his flag?
There it goes. What was he claiming?
Rolling 60 script.
Where Brick Baby from?
Rolling 60 script.
What you think the police told Quando?
That the Rolling 60s set him up?
Who you think he checked in with?
Rolling 60s?
With who?
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
That's
I'm not going to say
listen,
it. Yeah.
Listen.
I'm not going to say it.
No, listen. He's the one that everything I'm saying, he said. Go pull it up. Him and Flacco. Nobody knew anything about we wasn't even factored in OTF in this.
Wow.
We at the Beverly Center, across the street. Then this morning he says, yeah, they came in, they got my phone, they still got my phone. June 2023, what we in? The indictment came down June 2024. They unsealed it yesterday, right? Brick Baby is yet to go to federal court.
Sorry about the technical difficulties. Camera is going to be repaired today. My next video, it will be much better. Got situated. Now it's having some technical issues, y'all. So sorry about that. Anyway, okay. So this is why, all the more reason why you can't be out here doing dirt. You really can't. Because people open their mouths and say things that will put you in a situation, but that's just the nature of doing things that you ain't got no business doing. It comes back around, it catches up with you. And that's pretty much what I'm saying. I don't understand why when we have an opportunity to change our life, to do better, to be better, we don't. We still want to live thug life. We still want to live thug life. What is it? I don't get it. It's a whole mentality and mindset that is not doing you any justice. It's not. It's not doing you any justice, Grape. It's not. So this is sad. This is really sad to me. Again, another situation where, and I just want to leave with this quote. I'm not going to, beat a dead horse about it. You've already heard this, but I kind of want to tie some things together because I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't even see this coming. So this has been in the mix under investigation for a while. And what we thought was one thing was something else. And now the cat was out of the bag. But we can't get caught up on what we appear to be people's public success, because so many, and one of my mentors mentioned this, and I said this on a video. She was like, don't get caught up in what you see on social media. There are so many people living the lives of public success, and behind closed doors, they are a complete failure. It's nothing as to what you appear to be. And to me, this situation is a prime example of that. It's sad. I commend and recommend and give positive praises where it's due all the time. That's what it's about. But it's also calling out these type situations for having our young people to look and admire those who are walking the walk and talking the talk. Not just talking the talk, but they're talking it and walking it. And it's on a regular basis. When they say they've made the changes and adjustments, they mean it. And they're actually doing it and not living a double life. That's not helping our young people. It's sad but true that they look up to these gangster rappers as some type of role model. And I don't understand why. I mean, I understand, but it's time to pick some different role models. And hopefully, I wish this was a bad dream we could erase. I really do. But I know about that situation from well when it started. And it's just sad that this has happened. But it's based off choices. This just didn't happenstance and just fell out the sky. And he in this situation. It's all based off of a string and slew of choices. So what we have to remember are the choices that we make are going to come with consequences today, tomorrow, or in the future. I love you guys. Subscribe to the channel. Forgive me for the technical difficulties, and I'll see you in the next video. Yeah.